In this video, I'm going to really quickly remind you how to download data from the Census Bureau. This is going to be followed by a separate video on how to clean it up. And here you'll notice I'm just at data.census.gov. This is where you go if you type that into your browser. And from here, I recommend a simple path. You may find a better, simpler path that works for yourself. But I click on Advanced Search. And given what we're up to, the way to start here, which is to say working with geographical spatial data, the way to start that I find is particularly useful is to start with geography. So you notice there's some query boxes. We're going to come back to this one at the top in a moment. But for now, what we're going to do is limit what we're looking at, in this case to, let's say, all the tracts in, I don't know, the District of Columbia. Actually, I'll pick a state because there's one more step if you have a state, like let's say Massachusetts. And then I can say, I want to look at tracts within Barnstable County and all of them. Now, you could do this yourself for some other geography, like say all the tracts within Philadelphia. So you could, or better yet, Baltimore. So I can pick Baltimore County and all census tracts within it, and get rid of this other filter because I no longer want those. You get the idea. You see filters added down at the bottom. What you're doing by adding this filter is delimiting everything to those geographies. Now in Lab 7, you're looking for a few different things. If you're lucky enough to be looking at a location within the 3 counties we were working with in Lab 2, you don't need to get total population. You already have it. But if you wanted to get it again, you would search for total population using this filter. And then what you'll see get kicked out is a bunch of data tables. We're looking for data from the American Community Survey showing the year 2019. And in that case, if I click on total population, I see, what I expect to see, which is just the total population, an estimate of it, of each census tract. If I then click download, I see a box appear by the table I'm looking at, and I can say download selected. This allows me to say, maybe I want other years as well, or maybe I want a different type of table, but what's selected here by default, 2019 5-year estimates, CSV, that's what we want. Now, those 5-year estimates mean they're looking at 2015 to 2019 and compiling an overall estimate for that set of years. At this point, I'd say download. It will then tell me it's preparing a file, and I'll wait for it, and I'll say download, and then I'll have that file. At this point, you're going to want to download a couple more things. So if you click back 2 times, replace total population. Hey, I misspelled that with, let's say, median household income. And then repeat the search. You'll see a bunch of things that refer to 1999. Flip past all of them. At the very bottom of this, you'll see American Community Survey 2019. Hey, that's the one we want. And so click on that one, and you will see a table appear that's really simple. It's just telling you the median household income. That's the household income that's, if you rank all the households in the tract low to high, this is the tract that has 50% of houses are lower income and 50% are higher income. And it's telling you that for each tract in the county. So I'll do the same thing. I would select this, I would find the table that I'm looking at. It's highlighted here, and select next to it, and then say download selected. And that'll get me that table. I'm going to go back 2 times again and show you another measure that we're downloading. We're looking also at educational attainment. We're interested in the percentage of each tract that has a BA. So I'll say educational attainment. This is a complicated file, and in a separate video, I'm going to show you how to work with it. So here we're going to say search, and there it is, American Community Survey 2019, educational attainment. So I'll pick that table, and it says, whoa, that's a big table, I don't want to show it to you. Fine, this is the one you want. Download it. And the last thing we're going to do in Lab 7 is use a measure of race, ethnicity. Now my idea here is, and I explain it a little bit separately, I'm interested in showing you just a handful of measures that are really conventionally used in analysis like this. So when we're looking at human geographic factors, I have a set of measures I almost always incorporate into studying that I'm doing just to control for them one way or another and say, yeah, we took these things into account. And I call those the usual suspects, things like income, measures of income or wealth, measures of race or ethnicity, measures of age are often pertinent. Different measures of population allow you, or knowing what the total population of a location is, allows you to control for all, or calculate all kinds of things, like what percentage of the tract is non-white, for example. And to calculate percent non-white, I recommend using a measure, a race measure in which people report what their races are, and one thing people can say is, I'm white. And people will then be asked, are you white in combination with anything else? And they said, I'm white alone. My theory here is there are all kinds of race or ethnic measures we could use. In this case, I'm saying, is the variation in composition of this binary at all pertinent in any way to explaining something? It's a fairly conventional measure to use in any kind of human geographical analysis. We could just calculate the percent white, or we could calculate the percent non-white. I'm showing you how to calculate the percent non-white just to force you to make a calculation. There, I said it. And so I would then search that. I'll find this table from the American Community Survey, including the year 2019, that tells me what number of people in each tract report being white alone in combination with nothing else. So you can think of this number, 3,307, as being the total number of white people in a tract self-reported when asked. One might fairly ask, why do we ask this question of people in the census? We can talk about that separately. Now, if I use this measure and divide it by the total population of each tract, which you already have, we already showed you how to get that. If you don't have it, you would then have the percent of each tract that is white. Now, if I subtract that percentage from 1, thinking of 1 as meaning 100%, because when you divide this by total population, you'll get a percentage reported as a fraction, like 0.24 would mean 24% white. Now, if I subtract that from 1, I would get 0.76, which is 76% non-white. And so that's ultimately the measure we're going to work with. We're going to divide this column in your data table by total population and use that to derive percent non-white by subtracting the result from 1. All right, enough on that. You see now, hopefully, how to download the data tables that we're working with in Lab 7.